Welcome to the show. The time I'm making this video, it is September 30th, 2022. Let me start by saying that I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This information is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only. Today we'll be talking about MMTLP. There's been an update. For those who are not aware, MMTLP is basically the sale of some oil and gas assets that was owned by a company called Torchlight Energy. I've got a series of videos that explain what the Torchlight Energy oil and gas assets are. Basically, it's about 3.2 billion barrels of oil. But check out my last video, which gives a brief explanation. It's about a minute or two long on what the oil and gas assets are. They're located near El Paso, and basically metamaterials and basically a company called Torchlight Energy has about 3.2 billion barrels of oil in the ground, and they've got about a 49% revenue interest in that. So, and it's private land in Texas, so it's pretty good. Anyway, my last video talks about that, talks about some new drilling that took place there. So check that out. There's also a bunch of videos I made about Torchlight Energy and the oil and gas assets there. If you look at Thoughts on Oil Part 2 and 3, that goes over the entire Torchlight Energy / metamaterials Torchlight preferred shares / NextBridge Energy. So it goes through the entire story, parts 2 and 3, basically. And that's if you have some time, because as you can see, they're about 40 minutes and 30 minutes apiece. For in-depth details about the spin-out process, I've got some videos that are labeled S1 filed. S1 is S1 I sense great insecurity in the force, and also S1A filed, spinning out to an almost non-tradable private company. So check those videos out. To the left, you'll see this spinning overview. This is a drone footage of the founder's B19 well, which was drilled sometime around, I think, 2021 in June 13th or so. So it's it's from the Wayback Archives, June 2021, 6/13. I think it's about 6 months earlier than that or so. But it's pretty good footage, right? This is basically what a well looks like. This is from the Torchlight Energy archives. So anyway, so let's look at the price of oil. Let's look at the price of oil before I go into the new drills that have been found. Okay, so the price of oil as of Friday is $79.25. The average price of oil if you take the average out over a whole year, is $91.95 almost, which is significantly higher. So some might say the price of oil is in bargain territory right now. We'll see. But basically, I made this chart a while back and updated it, and this gives you an idea of what the value of the MMTLP dividend might be in terms of dollars per share, assuming it's a non-taxable event. And what non-taxable means is that metamaterials will not be paying taxes on the sale of the assets or the distribution of those assets. It basically means that they'd be doing a stock swap. But once you get the stock, if you choose to keep the stock or sell the stock, that may or may not be a taxable event, right? So that's on your end, you have to check your own stuff. But on metamaterial side, it's a non-taxable event. Anyway, on the x-axis, you'll see the cost of oil, in terms of dollars per barrel, and on the y-axis, which is what we care about, we see what the estimated value of the dividend would be. If we look at the numbers that I recently just presented about the price of oil, the 1 year average is $91.87.5, which gives an estimated dividend value of somewhere around $58.26. If you look at the current price of oil, which was $79.25, the estimated value of the dividend there would be around $45.27. Metamaterials is currently selling for around $1.50 or so. So there's quite a bit upside potential here. Again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This information is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only. So, again, the reason for this particular video is big shout out and thank you to CPLANT. The trend is your friend. He made this tweet, which he says, well, looks like we now have a total of 4 wells in the permitting process. Tug has gone away. Tug is the company that filed for drilling 1 well in the Orogrande basin in this Orogrande project. And he says, Tug has gone away, and I expect, as I expected, same MO as last year. Okay, that means this similar thing happened last year, and we should see another one coming soon. So there are 5 drillings that need to be done in order to maintain compliance with the continuous drilling clause. So in order for them to have access to this oil land, they need to do 5 drills in 2022. And they have 4 that are permitted right now. So if we look at, thank you Tam Tran also, because he retweeted this to me, and also to Roller Pigeons, and that keeps me updated because sometimes I miss tweets and whatnot, right? Anyway, this is what CPLANT had to say about the 5 new drills, and their the first one, the B48 University Keene B48 drill, that previously was actually the permit operator previously was Tug Oil and Gas, and now it is Hudspeth operating, as all the others are. So Tug Oil and Gas has gone away, and as we can see, the what was it? There are 4 of them: B48, E23, and B10 and A25. Okay, and they're all in Hudspeth operating. So the other thing CPLANT did, which is awesome, he does great work. Thank you, CPLANT, for your tweets. He also did a Google Earth image of where where this actual drilling is. So it's in red. As you can see, it's very close to Highway 160 or 63, I believe. Is it 62 or 63? I forget. 62, yeah. So it's a Google Earth map image. If you have Google Earth, it's good to check out this area. They have not updated the map since 2020, I believe. So the maps themselves are a little bit old. And there's been a tweet thread going around saying, hey, do you think this buyer's looking to get an estimate? And then CPLANT says, yeah, I thought that last year too. I said thanks for the update, and it looks like there's some pipelines in the area, and the E23 well is getting closer to the highway and the pipelines, both oil and natural gas. And Roller Pigeons made an interesting tweet. She said, yes, I also have more information on the oil pipeline. So, in fact, Roller Pigeon says she'll be making a video this weekend about the well logs, and she's going to go into the drilling. Check out her video. I'm sure it's going to be pretty cool. I will check it out myself because I think she brings forth great information. So, pretty cool. So, this led me, of course, to re-verify all the stuff. So I did a search on the Texas Railroad Commission. You can do it yourself as well too. They have a online query. So you just go to this web link. I clicked on Hudspeth, and I put a submitted date from 1/1/2019. I just wanted to see all the filings, and I came up with this. Right, it gives you this after a minute or two. Sometimes their computer is slow, and as we can see, this is the last 4. And the first one of the 4 has been approved, and the last 3 are waiting approval right now, but they'll probably be approved very soon. If we look at what the permits themselves look like, click on the first and second one. They look like this, and they give you information as to the filing purpose. In this case, it's new drills. It's a vertical drill, and they also have the lease name, and they have the well number. So from that, you can tell, an idea of where they are. They also give you GPS coordinates, which is where CPLANT was able to enter into Google Earth. And so those are the two most important things. They give you a name, B48 and E23, and those clearly look like as though they come from a grid. I'll show you what the grid. I'll show you the grid that they came from, and it's pretty cool. Now, if we look at this, if we look at the last two, we see an interesting. The last two findings, we see that they. We see that they are wells number 3. So they're not well number 1. So this is the third well on that particular pad. And so being well number 3, they might have some additional drillings that they did earlier. So if we look on the original site, we can see that, there we go. So A25 had a second well that was permitted and approved sometime in 2019. And B10 was also drilled out sometime around October 14, 2021. So, so this is the third well that's being drilled on that pad. And that's just for the last two, right? So, here's all the actual info in terms of the grid locations and the GPS coordinates. So this is where they get the pad information from, right? This is the first two wells of the 4 on the drilling permits, and these are brand new wells. This is where the grid reference comes from, right? There's a quadrant. You'll see Block A, Block B. Block A is on the top left of the yellow. Block B is on the top right of the yellow. As you can see, it says University Block B, and then University Block F and Block E on the bottom left and the bottom right. And you can see where the B48 pad is and the E23 pad is, right? Those are the two new drillings. As you can see, the E23 pad, or the E23 grid reference, is right next to the Highway 62 /160. This is the other two permits that have been taken place. They're on B10 and A25. So that's where the grid reference comes in from. And this is all of the other drillings that have been done. So there may be multiple drillings on a particular pad, but I put the other drillings in green, so you can see where those are in terms of their grid reference locations, right? So this is a Google Earth map of the location, and as you can see, E23 is just north of Highway 62 /180. So it's very close to the road. That gives you good access to, if you need to truck equipment in there, makes it very easy. If you need to truck, if you needed to truck oil and gas out, that's possible as well too. Here's the other drilling. Here are the other drill locations in terms of pads and names. But I mentioned earlier that it's that it's very close to the highway, which is good to being close to infrastructure. Texas also has a bunch of pipelines going through it, and here's a map of their pipelines. And if we zoom into the El Paso Orogrande area on that map, specifically, we see that there are some pipelines near 62. Okay, there's a crude oil pipeline to the south, and there's a natural gas pipeline that is to the north. I mean, that's north of the oil pipeline. And here's where the oil pipeline would be closest to our drill locations. As we can see, it's pretty close to the E23 location, and the oil pipeline and the gas pipeline that they both head into El Paso, as well as going the other direction, of course. But of course, eventually they wind up in El Paso. So I just drew in where the gas pipeline is. We're very close to the gas pipeline. In fact, we're closer than we were before with the B48 pad. And we're also closer to the oil pipeline. So as you can see, the closest points, if we had to extend a pipeline to get to that gas pipeline, right? It's not very far. You have to extend. Same thing if you have to extend to the oil pipeline. Again, that's also not very far. Once you've already made the pipeline to the gas pipeline, right? You probably build two at once, I guess. Have one in terms of an oil and a gas right next to each other somehow. Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, it looks like it's really set up to use that infrastructure that's there, and that would be a huge cost savings, because then you can get the natural gas and oil into El Paso. And El Paso is important because they have a company called Marathon, and Marathon will they have a refinery station there, so they can actually refine that oil and gas. So it's very convenient. So yeah. It's nice to be close to a large city in this case, So you're far enough away that you can, actually drill and get access to the oil and gas, but you're close enough that you can get to a refinery, which is also very good, And that also means that we're pretty close to real infrastructure. There's a highway that you can bring your equipment onto easily, so it's pretty good. The E23 drilling is particularly interesting. And from E23, once you've drilled once you have a pipeline going to the gas or an oil pipeline, it would be fairly simple to extend that pipeline north into the rest of the areas that you would start drilling. So, yeah. Anyway, so this is all I have to say about MMTLP. Looks like we have four more wells that have been permitted. There's probably a fifth well coming. Let me end by saying that I'm not a financial advisor. This is not financial advice. This information is intended for entertainment and educational purposes only. Goodbye.